Hey folks, what's up? Look, it's another Wednesday. We've got just some really fun stuff to talk about tonight. Our topic, but look, as always, I have to share the screen. There's a little nod to what we're talking about this evening. I've got to share the screen with some great people because I got to talk about this stuff. It's so much fun. That's probably Robert. He's going to be coming in, and it's Robert. What's up?
Hey,
Are you ready for tonight's show?
I am ready.
I think this is going to be a fun one. We also need to. I know Jabba is running a little late. She had to grab something to eat. I think she might even be still chewing. I think she put her bowl down. I'm not sure, but she just put her fork in her mouth kind of slowly. I'm not sure. I think she's about to. Oh, she's at the door. Let me walk to the door slowly so I can let her chew the rest of her food, and we can bring Jabba.
I'm not sharing.
I was not. That was you're faster than Wyatt Earp, Doc Holliday, and Bass Reeves. That was the quickest.
Huckleberry.
Oh shit! I don't know if she's eating huckleberries, but that play. But oof.
Just noodles.
Maja is that. Please chew. Please, I do not want you choking on the show. Please chew. I mean, in life, I don't want you choking in life. I should just say on the show, like in life, but please chew, please. Jabba, are you ready for tonight's show?
Yes.
Chew, and then you're good. All right, you're good. Okay, this is going to be a fun one, folks. The summer's winding down, but we are still coming with some very fun episodes. So y'all are ready?
Ready.
Ready?
I'm ready, folks. Let's get it on. So, folks, wow, it's starting to get hot, and I hate that. But folks, welcome to another episode of the Summer of Geek series presented by the Hungry Bleak channel. Look, we've been having a blast this summer. We're having great topics. We've had some really fun guests. I think we have all probably sweat about maybe 5 pounds of water weight on the show because it's been just nasty out here. Global warming, what's that? Obviously not. Red states. So, look. We've got a great show, but let's start with the introductions. I am Antonio Palmares, aka the Hungry Bleak, the hungriest man in the room.
What's up? It's your girl Job 10 trying to finish her dinner with her blue Gatorade. Yeah.
And I am Robert Jeffrey, also known as Rob Dwyer.
Oh my god. Oh, so she does have something blue. It's not blueberry. Well, I guess it could, like, I don't know if there's a blueberry Gatorade, is there?
Well, I got like the was it like the container from like Walmart where you get like the powder mix?
Oh, okay.
It's like the big ones, so you can make as much as you want.
Oh, okay. I haven't had Gatorade in I don't know how long. I don't know, just stopped drinking. At a certain point I just said, yeah, I'll just go straight to water. Just to hell with it.
Stuff for electrolytes.
Yeah, like I just do that. So tonight's topic, this was yours, Jabba, right?
No, this is actually Robert's.
This was Robert's? I thought this was yours. Oh no, yours was last week. I'm sorry. Robert, this week, why don't you share this topic with us? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Let's see what you did there. So this week, I wanted us to talk about, as the title says, favorite shared universes. There's so many connected verses, in recent years, some of the popular ones being the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Star Wars, Star Trek, as you can see from the blueprint from behind. It just seems like we're getting a lot more of these than we probably might have back when we were growing up. So, the criteria that I, it has to have like more than one thing that ties into the universe of like a TV show, a movie, or maybe a couple of TV shows, a couple of movies. And also, like in one case, we have like something that spans different comic books. So, that's what I wanted to talk about, and suggest things that most people probably don't think about when they think about connected universes or shared universes. Because, like I said, normally most people automatically go to like the MCU. But there's a lot of stuff out there, to talk about. So, just wanted to bring the topic up and have some nerdy fun. So,
yeah. So let's start with it. Robert, what's your first choice for one of your favorite shared universes?
So, strangely enough, this is going to be off the beaten path. The Has Fallen universe. I I don't know why. Like a couple of years ago, I got obsessed with the fact that there was a connected universe for the Has Fallen verse. At first, it just seemed kind of weird, but then the more I kind of looked into it, it was just like it's an action movie franchise, so it makes sense that they would try to grow it as much as possible. So, if people aren't familiar with it, the first movie in the universe was Olympus Has Fallen, and that came out the same year, I think, as White House Down, which was the movie with Channing Tatum
Yeah.
and Jamie Foxx, and basically both movies, Olympus Has Fallen and White House Down, have this um, blueprint of Die Hard at the White House, and in Olympus Has Fallen. Gerard Butler plays a Secret Service agent, a disgraced Secret Service agent, who has to save the White House or the president from North Korean terrorists. So it's a huge kind of there's a lot of action, really bombastic explosions, gunfights, and it's the is it Leonidas? Is his name Leonidas from
Yes.
300? Yeah,
Yeah.
Leonidas from 300 just kicking butt. And I enjoyed the movie, had a lot of fun with it, but then it begat another sequel, London Has Fallen, and then after that, Angel Has Fallen. So we get in like the whole Has Fallen universe, and in London Has Fallen, he has to fight against more terrorists, and the third one, he has to go on the run from the government, and he also has to keep the former president Morgan Freeman safe. So you have this trilogy, right? So I was like, okay, that's cool. Have a really fun action series. But then I remember this is like a couple of years ago when I got obsessed with it. On Hulu, there's a TV series called Paris Has Fallen. And I was just like, you know what? I has fallen in love with this series. So anyway, with this franchise. I do this for a living, folks. But anyways, the Paris Has Fallen series reminded me more of like 24. And the good thing about it is I think it has like 6 or 8 episodes to kind of tell an extended story. And even though it takes place in the same universe as the original film trilogy, it's not directly tied to, there's no mention of the events of the movies. But if you dig a little bit deeper, it's produced by the same company. Gerard Butler is an executive producer on the series, and it is within the same universe. But it still keeps that same template of two operatives or agents fighting back against conspiracy or terrorists. And then, like I said, it's just it's another action thriller series. And if you're a fan of, I say shows like 24, there's a show on Amazon. I'm forgetting the title of it. Citadel. Or if you're a fan of Citadel or Lioness, Paris Has Fallen is really, really good. And it's definitely worth checking out. And the thing that I love is that it actually uses Parisian actors, from the area. So it's not like Gerard Butler coming in with a bunch of other American actors. They actually are using talent from overseas. And the show is really good. I call the film trilogy just popcorn action fun, which can be kind of goofy at times, but Paris Has Fallen is actually a well-written and directed and really kind of deep at times action adventure series. So I highly recommend that. And there's apparently a second season of that same cast coming out called Apollo Has Fallen, and that is coming out I think later this year. So all that to say, with those 3 movies and let's just say 2 TV series, because they're giving the second season a different title, that's the Has Fallen universe. So if you're a fan of action movies and shows like 24, I highly recommend it. The film series is definitely something that you can kind of turn your brain off and just enjoy, like mindless action, and just have some fun with it. But I actually am enjoying how they're growing things, and it's something that's new. And there's another movie that's supposed to be coming, but it's only been announced. But but that's my first choice.
Awesome choice. Yeah, I'm a fan of the series. I haven't watched I should say I'm a fan of the franchise. I haven't watched the series on Hulu, but I know about it. Yeah, but I've watched it. I actually watched Angel Has Fallen in theaters. I want to say. I think I saw
Okay.
that in theaters because I wanted to see something in theaters, and I think at that time I had AMC Premium Plus or whatever it is, where I got 3 movies. So I was like, I'll go see that, and it was fun. And I like, and the beginning scene is cool because of the drones that
Yeah.
come in, which is actually kind
Yeah.
of cool.
Yeah.
So that was awesome. Jabba, what have you got for your pick?
Okay, so my first pick is actually American Horror Story, like the universe for it. So pretty much every American Horror Story, like every season is different. So you can watch it like in whatever order you want to, pretty much. But there are certain connections with certain characters throughout the seasons that connect within each other, which actually makes it cool, and then makes you want to like rewatch the entire thing from season 1 up until I think it's season 9, because the last 2 I really don't count because they weren't like the greatest. Because like for example, season 3 was Coven, and I think that's still like one of like the best ones ever because that one had like Angela Bassett, Kathy Bates, Jessica Lange, of course, who's a regular on the show, Evan Peters, Emma Roberts, to name a few, and it's all doing about like witches in I think it's Louisiana. No, yeah, Louisiana, right? If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So there's a tie between that and season 1 of which is Murder House, which it states in the name. Everybody gets murdered in a house in different times, of course, and that also ties into the Apocalypse, which is like I think like season 9, and then even just in general, like the universe is so big where they connect sometimes real life stuff into their show. Although not trying to be too political, but it was kind of touchy when they did the season of the cult season. It was during the 2016 election, so that was kind of like off-putting. But then they also spin off to American Horror Stories, where they're like each episode is a different story, but they do tie base back into the main broad American Horror Story franchise. And then I think now they're gonna come out. I think because they were talking, I think for like the next season where they're gonna have some of the cast from Coven. So Gabby Sidibe, Angela Bassett, Jessica Lange, Ariana Grande. I think who else is Kathy Bates. So trying to see how that all unfolds into it is going to be pretty cool. And I would say if anybody wants to watch it, go watch it on Hulu. I would say definitely watch season 3 first because that's like still one of my favorites to watch firsthand, and then watch the other ones going forward. And then also if you don't want to like relive 2016 due to like real life events, and they do make a warning for certain episodes. I think it was like when we had like the clown situation and the crazy mass shootings that we had going on that year, they do give a warning for that. So if you don't want to watch that one, that's totally fine. You can always skip it.
That I remember when the first series first came out, watching Murder House, and I was like, oh, okay. And it was so wild. And I kept thinking that it was just going to be like just a continuation every season, but it became this anthology series, and having like the same, or like mostly the same troupe of actors working in that series playing different roles. I thought it was one of the best things out there. Was a huge fan. I stopped watching just because he's a lot. There's a lot of times, and at a certain point I realized that in every season there was some manner of sexual assault, and I was like, yeah, I'm just going to chill on this for a minute.
Yeah,
which is why I think they stopped. Well, as far as I know, they stopped from what I was watching, but every episode there was a sexual assault, and I was like, all right. Like there was one that was, they're all egregious, I should say, but there was one that was just, and people were like, it was within like the first 2 minutes, people were like, why is this even here? Why? What is happening right now? That's how you're starting it off, which was the Hotel Cortez episode.
Oh yeah, that was season 5. And just to give you guys an update, they're going to be at 10. There are 13 seasons actually, and that one will release in September the 24th of this year.
Cool.
I would say like the only is like the last one I would still keep in touch. If you watch like seasons 1 through 9, because I'm looking at like the Wikipedia page, are pretty decent. NYC was mostly dealing with like the AIDS pandemic back in like the 80s. So
there was one called NYC.
NYC, yeah.
Like, this is how far removed I am from it. Because when
Yeah.
stories start, I kind of like walked away from it. I was like, this is a lot. You give me a different, like, it was just too much for me to watch in general.
Yeah,
Oh,
no, I would say like
after
after like 1 through 8 are definitely have like connections in their own right. 9 was like, you know, not, I don't want to say homage, like, you know, like the 80s slasher movies, but there was also like, you know, real life people like they portrayed from that that era. But NYC was definitely like during like the AIDS pandemic for New York City, underneath like, you know, the LGBTQ community. Double feature wasn't really the greatest in my opinion, and Delicate was just some, and I'm disabling some random ass shit. Where with Kim Kardashian and
yeah, that's enough for me. That's all you had to say. Kim Kardashian.
And
actually, any Kardashian, come to think of it, and any of them would have been good.
Well, there was the Coven. The season with Coven was the one with Lala Ree, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that was the one I think that I saw maybe most of, and then the one where it seemed like they were crossing over a lot of elements into, and I can't remember what, but you know, and my wife is a bigger fan of it. But whenever I've checked in with it, I've enjoyed it. I mean, I like the fact that it's like stylish horror, you know, and whatever my gripes are with the creator, you know, it's one of those things that's a long lasting horror franchise that people keep coming back to.
Yeah.
You know?
It feels almost like the perfect horror for modern or maybe like younger gen, just because it feels more like it almost feels like social media, like influencer. It feels like that very stylish over, like, I think maybe that's why this doesn't hit me anymore, because, you know, obviously I'm not a fan of social media in general, but it's
I would say it got to that point, I want to say during probably the Cult. That's where it became like more realistic and more like right then and there. It was like, okay, since this is happening, we're having this. Like, they were going back to back. Like, we're like when they were doing like Roanoke, they kind of did like a reenactment, but also still acting at the same time. And I kind of got confused for a second. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, but it was good though, because like they were like breaking the fourth wall without breaking the fourth wall on that series. So Cult was like where they started to make everything like, you know, realistic. Where I'm like, kind of touchy. Apocalypse was okay because like everything was just like, you know, going to hell, pun intended. And then everything else like afterwards, like So I'll wait to see what this 13 season is, because it's just named 13.
Oh wow. Okay.
Well, it could just be named 13 just because 13 is that number. So it could be just be called that. That would be, if they just left it at that, it would be cool. Just leave it. Just go with something simple, which is what I hope. But that dude doesn't do simple. That dude does the most wild mess possible, which is there, you know. But yeah, it is a very long running franchise. So congratulations to them. The acting troupe that's a part of it is always really good in whatever role they do. So awesome, good for them. For me, mine is General Hospital. Now, I thought we were doing pictures and stuff popping up, so I had pictures set up.
Oh, okay.
But more just like that.
Oh, my bad.
No,
I got it. I mean,
it's like if y'all want to pop them in, I mean, pop them in. That's cool. Excuse me. So yeah, General Hospital. Okay, so General Hospital is the last of the remaining ABC soap operas. Now, y'all know I'm a big soap opera head. You know, growing up, you know, having to go over to somebody's house, you was watching Price is Right. You was drinking ginger ale. Yes. You was eating saltines. Like, you was watching. You knew the stories. You knew how much the woman who was watching you hated the Kyriakis family. You knew how much Victor Kyriakis put that woman through it. She was mad. The Quartermains, everything. So on ABC is my particular home base for soap operas. Now, General Hospital is the last one to remain, like I said. But the thing about it is that General Hospital has incorporated a lot of other characters from One Night to Live, All My Children,
Okay.
loving, what have you. Now, one time, Port Charles was the direct spinoff of General Hospital, and it dealt with people that were in the hospital. It dealt with like the doctors and everything like that. And it went off into like a more of a supernatural, almost a Buffy the Vampire Slayer kind of vibe. They had vampires on it and everything. It almost reminded me of Baywatch Nights. It went that route. I'm not lying, dude. If you watch it, you'd be like, "What is?" It was a mix of Buffy and Baywatch
Yeah,
Nights because
nice.
it was about like the people in the hospital and commingling and drama and everything like that. Then it got supernatural, but the supernatural part never leaked over to the main continuity of General Hospital. You never saw nothing about vampires staking people, nothing. It was just about the hospital, crime bosses, rich families, stuff like that. But they've incorporated a lot of characters that have come into General Hospital from, like I said, from Landview, which is One Life to Live, from Pine Valley, which is All My Children, Loving. They even have a place where they go now, which is Beecher's Corner, which I believe Beecher's Corner is a part of One Life to Live, I want to say. They've had, I'm trying to, the pub from Ryan's Hope has been in their feature as well. They've even had actors who have either portrayed the characters or actors who were a part of that series and are now on General Hospital in another role. I love that feeling of seeing somebody come back, and even if it's like a guest spot or even if they're coming into that, you'll even hear certain characters' last names and you go, oh, that character has a link to somebody else possibly, so it gives them a way to bring in those characters. Like there's a character, Isaiah Gannon, who's a doctor, fairly new character, maybe about a couple years. And someone says, oh, well, I know your family. That's a direct link possibly to One Life to Live. You have the Gannons, RJ Gannon, who I'm hoping they say that he is his father, because RJ was one of the most badass black characters out there. He was awesome as hell. Dude had a fly.
Who?
What the dude had a fly? He stole my thunder.
Sorry.
You get somebody gets somebody eats noodles and they start getting superpowers, like they're able to lift Buicks and they just come up here stealing your thunder.
I didn't know that you could take control like that.
Wow. It's ridiculous. Well, there's like different settings. It's like I have to do a certain thing in order for not to take off certain things. So whatever. but I love that they do this also on CBS, because I watch Beyond the Gates, and they have it where they've had characters from, I want to say, Young and the Restless on a couple of times. So I like when they do this. They have the cross universe, you bring in other characters, and it also helps people to say, oh, I like that character. What show are they on? There you go, check that show out. And it kind of spreads out. And you have actors are all over soap operas. They'll be on this show, then they'll leave for a bit and they'll go over here and they'll come back. So I love it. So your General Hospital, but always look out for characters like that. If you're able to watch some older stuff, go check it out. Port Charles, I think for the first few months, it was just about the hospital. Then at a certain point, I forgot what point it was, because I think it wasn't when I was in high school, just after high school, I would watch The View. Don't judge me. I'll watch The View, and then this would come on, and it was only a half hour. And when it got supernatural, I was like, didn't somebody just have to do a thoracic heart surgery, and now we talk about staking somebody vampires? Like, what is going on here?
It's amazing.
And it was at a certain point I stopped watching because I just couldn't take it. I hate it. So yeah, for me, like I said, General Hospital is just a series that I always truly enjoyed. So yes, there we go. What's your next choice, Jabba?
Sorry.
My bad. I'm talking about, and I just see Superman. I'm like,
my bad.
You're talking about General Hospital again.
Oh shit.
Yeah, you definitely are.
Wait, whoa, what's going
We're
on?
talking about Transformers.
What is happening here? Okay. What is happening here? Oh, so oh, goody. So we're just having all types of technical difficulties. Please stand by. Awesome. Yeah.
I would say, just while we're fixing everything, what was it? I'm not trying to show my screen. Jesus Christ, technical difficulties. My bad.
No, it's just I think it's StreamYard, because stuff is just popping up and I'm like, no.
Okay, there we go. But before we get into that, I was gonna say, when I used to watch I didn't watch, but when my grandma used to watch Young and the Restless, I didn't realize what recasting was until I noticed that people were calling other people the same name. I was saying, that's not the same person. Mm-hmm. Like, that's not Nick. That's not Nicholas. That's not Victoria. They're two different people, and they don't look alike.
Well, sometimes the actors don't even look the hell alike. They just be on two different ends of the spectrum. I love when they do that because now they start going, the role of Lucky Spencer will now be played by boom, 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 or they'll say today, meaning that maybe the actor is away or they got sick or they had an injury or something like that. Today, the character of Nicholas Spencer will be played by blah blah blah. If it's somebody totally recasting, well, no, they didn't start doing that. I think maybe in the late 90s. I want to say because it was Havoc.
For Young the Restless, like we didn't get like no introduction because trust me, we watched that faithfully. Also, and I see like Nicholas look like one person, and then I'm like, no, this is not Nicholas. Mm-hmm. These are two different people. When they start changing people, I don't like it. That's when I start to rebel. I'm like, I don't like recasting because it's just one person.
I think soap operas are way more like they take that more personally, I think, because you really get invested in that character. Mm-hmm. I think it's like, yeah, that's true.
But my second one is going to be the Justice League universe because obviously we're not doing Marvel today. We're doing DC, and I would say, I guess from like watching the Batman animated series and the Superman series were like those like the main two that will pop up, and especially when they start do their crossovers with each other, was like, okay, I enjoy their episodes. Like I said, I want to see more of them. And then all of a sudden, boom, we got the Justice League, which will lead up to 4 episode specials, and then it's like you gotta watch Batman to watch this one episode of Justice League, and then watch Superman, and then watch the season finale of Justice League, all tied together. Like, you can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, this was a golden age of animation. Yeah, especially when they expanded the roster and they got like Justice League Unlimited. This is the formula that I want James Gunn to follow. Like for this, when they do a Justice League, like this is what I want. Mm-hmm. But yeah, going back to Batman the animated series, it was awesome to see them because I think that was the first time that we saw that growing up, right? On like an animated series. So yeah.
And to have it kind of work in, and then you went from Batman to Superman, and it just grew, and it was just a really cool thing, and being able to get that and seeing all the characters' interaction and the commingling, and even then having comics mirror it. Mm-hmm. Like having like comics like where it actually was said the animated series like comic based on that universe, and then the latest iteration of Justice League Unlimited having definite nods to Justice League Unlimited, the animated series. I love doing that. I love a good tongue-in-cheek thing, like a good like little nod to you saying, we know you watched, and we're glad we're here. We're going to give you this, but we're going to give you something that's a little different. But stick with us. Yeah, and this is one of the best series in shared universes, I'll say, out there, truth, and still holds up to this day.
Because let's not forget, we're also got these other two classic gems. Is especially they expanded from Batman Beyond, which was thrown into there a little bit, and we also got Static Shock was also thrown into it too when they did that crossover where Stag had got flung into the future or whatever, and there was a couple and that's when like him and Terry McGinnis had partnered up, but it was the same style. Like you got like the people from the Justice League coming in. It's like, oh, okay. It's like, so this is real, and they're like, yeah, it's real. So it's like all of that ties together, and also still same animation style, which I still love. So it's like, yeah, you gotta give it its flowers.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't disappoint. You can find them. I mean, they're on Max, but you can also watch them on Tubi as well. I believe both Justice League series, and I think Static's still on there as well.
Okay.
What about Batman and Superman?
I don't think they're on there.
Yeah, I think they're just on Max.
Yeah, they're just on Max. Batman, the anime series, was on something else too. I think I was watching. I don't know. I know no, it's not on Tubi because I know the Batman is on Tubi, and I think the Batman is also on Netflix as well as Max. I think the only one that's not out there is the one that was based on the robot.
The Zeta Project.
Yeah, we're good. We're
Well,
good.
I don't think I know of that one.
it's
You're good, Chopper. You're good.
it's I think it ran for like one season. One before I forget,
Yeah.
one animated movie which ties directly into this universe is Justice League. I think it's called The Fatal Five, and it has the same art
Oh,
style. And the thing that I love about it is that they introduced Jessica Cruz into Jessica Cruz, one of the Green Lanterns. But it's still set within this universe. But I know that they've had animated movies that have branched off of this, but that was probably the most recent one that I think is still set in this universe.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a winner on that one. Wait a second. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Oh, this picture just popped
I'm about
up.
to say, do I need to go again?
Because it's like stuff is like popping up that should not be here, and it doesn't make any sense at all. Because when I take it off, it's like, yeah, just dang. You've added so much StreamYard. Simmer down. Relax.
Right. Pump
Give
the
us the quick
brakes.
buttons. Robert, what's your next one that you've got?
So for my next one, I am going with the official title that I found for it was DC Animated Movie Universe, New 52. And what from the period of 2013 to 2020, 2013 to 2020, DC Animated released, as you can see, 16 movies here, which were all tied into a animated cinematic universe. A lot of the art style and some of the storylines for a few of these movies, or a lot of the movies, were influenced by the New 52 era of DC Comics. And I can't remember exactly when New 52 was a big thing, and as far as the publishing dates or whatever, but all of these movies just kind of pulled from that, even to like the art style where my wife will say like all the guys look like they were walking around like this with like the big shoulder, like that.
It was unnecessary.
Yeah, it was what it was. Like Superman looked like he was pumping weights since he got out of the shuttle. What I usually tell people is when during this period of time, this was when the cinematic universe was doing its thing with Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, and Wonder Woman. And I always try to tell folks that if you felt that those live action movies were lacking, watch these. First of all, you get 16 movies, which all tie together into like intertwining threads, and they lead up to like a huge kind of huge event with the I think it's the Apocalypse War, if I'm reading this right.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, the Apocalypse War. So you have movies that focus on the Justice League, Batman, Superman, Aquaman, Flash, Wonder Woman, the Teen Titans, Suicide Squad, and adapting some of the best storylines that DC had to offer during the New 52, but then also outside of the New 52, like I see with the Death of Superman was way back in the early 90s. And then some of the elements, Teen Titans, Judas Contract. So they did a really good job of like bringing elements, story elements from different periods, but like keeping that New 52 vibe. And it was, I guess 2013 to 2020, that's like 7 years. You're getting 7 years of really solid animated films. Which once again, they all tie together. So I actually personally enjoy this universe a bit more than the live action, and not just because of quantity, but it's quality. Like, I felt that they did a really good job of fleshing out the Bat family. This is where we had Damian Wayne kind of brought into play. I think this is one of the best iterations of the Suicide Squad that you will ever get. And also, I love the fact that there was a relationship, suggestion of a relationship between Superman and Wonder Woman, stuff, elements like that. And it was just a really good time to be a fan of DC animated. So I highly recommend that if people feel that they aren't getting this whole connected, cohesive verse with the live action DC stuff, definitely go and check these out. I know most of, if not all of these, are on HBO Max. So I always suggest just take some time. Watch maybe one a week, a couple a week, and you will get that whole comic book viewing, animated viewing experience done really well. But yeah, it's this one was a fun one. This one was a fun one to keep up with while it was going on.
Yeah, I know some of them are on Tubi as well. Again, we are not shilling for Tubi. I swear to God, we are not. But it's just how happens that a lot of stuff, when it's off of Max, it'll go onto Tubi.
Yeah.
And it'll like go back and forth like it does. Again, we're not shilling for them. Although if I was to be offered a contract for their creator universe, which I know they have on there, I would not be mad at that. But yeah, you get a lot of them are on there.
I mean, even Prime had like that. What was that 3-part one that they had? Was the Battle of the Earth or whatever?
Yes, yeah. Well, that was, I think that was after this, just after it. I want to say, was it?
Okay.
I think it was, but it wasn't far from. I think that was more like their Elseworld title. I think that was when they were trying to maybe
the Crisis,
the next era.
Yeah, it was like a 3-part on Prime, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, they call it, the one immediately after this is called the Tomorrowverse, and I know that ended a couple Years ago with their Crises, which was their trilogy. The Crisis on Infinite Earths.
I think that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
That one wasn't as popular, I'm thinking, or they just knew what they had to do next, which is absolute.
And I mean, I'll say this, and I've said this for years. I've always loved just DC's animated stuff over Marvel. And I've always made this point where I'm like, Marvel will have better live action, but DC will have better animated. And I'm like, nobody can really fight me on that, because like they know it's true. Because I remember, I think I was at like Comic-Con one year, and somebody was talking about like, oh, well, Superman's better than this. I'm like, have you watched the animated stuff? And like, no, I was like, well, think about it this way: DC is better animated, Marvel is better live action. And then the guy's like, you're right. I can't say nothing about it because it's true.
At one time, Marvel was kind of doing they were doing some cool stuff with animation, but it wasn't as linked or as tightly woven as DC stuff. But I love the what was it? The like the Hulk versus like double feature where it was him versus Thor and him versus Wolverine. There was the one where it was Weapon X and Wolverine. Like they did some decent stuff, but they didn't take it as far. But DC's always had that, which I think is great. My next choice is, as you've probably already seen, is the Energon universe. So the Energon universe started out, I'm trying to think of when it started out, and this thing has grown massive. It started a few years ago. Robert Kirkman over at Skybound Entertainment, when IDW was about to lose the license for Transformers and G.I. Joe, which had already been kind of this a shared universe for the two of them, they snagged it up. And Robert Kirkman, obviously, you know him from his huge hits like Thief of Thieves, Reaper. No, I'm just joking. Nobody knows those titles. I hate that. Invincible, Walking Dead. He's brought all these together. But he said, okay, I'm going to bring G.I. Joe and Transformers together. We thought it was just going to stop there, but there was a series called Void Rivals, which is where it all started. This is an original project. I read the first issue. I was like, okay. About 4 pages into the first issue, I said, wait, that ship looks familiar. The ship got up, looked around, and said, oh, wait, what's going on? Transformed into a robot, and they like flew off. And I was like, okay, normally you would wait at the end of the issue to do a twist or what have you. They did about 4 pages in. And I said, oh, wow, this is what we're doing. So this is the beginning of it. And then it went into Transformers, G.I. Joe. Then Robert Kirkman said, hold on a second, finished his whiskey, Kentucky whiskey probably, and said, guess what? I'm going to add in Mask. Mask is another old property from the 80s, and then it was redone. Brandon Easton was writing it. I want to say, what was Brandon Easton?
It was Easton. Yeah,
Brandon. It was Easton. And was it for Lion Forge or was it for?
It was.
I think it was maybe about 2.
Forge.
Was it? I think it was about 2 or 3 arcs.
Mhm.
to do it. But then he was like, okay, Brett, I'm going to bring in Mask. Then it was announced, okay, wait, we're not just there. We're going to take Rom, the Space Knight.
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, cool. Then he said, wait, we got one more. I said, how much Kentucky whiskey do you have in your damn house, boy? They're bringing in Micronauts. So this is a very huge undertaking. And this is also going to be mirrored at maybe in a larger aspect at some point in live action. I know in the last Transformers movie, it was already shown that G.I. Joe is there.
Oh,
That I didn't even mean to do the theme song. I'm sorry, folks. I totally did not mean to do that. Oh man, my bad. But to do that, whether they were to do it live action or even in animation, I would be so geeked for this. You can see from the picture itself, there is a lot going on in here. You figure all the Transformers that you have, all the G.I. Joe characters that you have, then you add in characters from Mask, which I read the first issue, and they are, I think at some point somebody says these heroes are kind of psychopathic. And I said, the look in this man's eyes, in Tracker's eyes, is not for the faint of heart. It is not. And you can't leave the page because his eyes like follow you. It's actually kind of amazing from the art, I'll be honest with you. But then to had Rom, the Space Knight, which I believe was a Marvel property.
yeah.
Mhm.
And then Micronauts, which Micronauts might have been Marvel.
I
I think that
think
Micronauts
so.
might have been as well. So I love the fact that they're, hey, this property is up. They're like, what can we do with this? They're grabbing it up and adding it to this and adding it to this. You can call it the Energon or even the Hasbro universe because the Void Angels thing was co-owned by Hasbro and Skybound. Then Transformers, Hasbro. So there's a lot going on here. I recommend going in there if you want to have something to read that will just overtake you. Like I'm trying to catch up myself because there's a lot of comics out there to read anyway. Oh, by the way, happy new comic book day, folks. I apologize. There's a lot going on here, but yeah, Energon. There are mini series for certain characters. Like Duke has one, Scarlet has one, which is a lot of fun. Destro has one. Cobra Commander has one, which is more like a horror story.
Nice.
Even go check them out. They are a lot of fun. I recommend the Energon universe from Skybound Entertainment. There's a lot going on, and if you're an '80s kid, you're like older, like my age, you will definitely go, oh wow, and you'll be introduced to new stuff you haven't seen in years. So go check it out, please. All right, Robert, what's your next one?
So my next one is the Conjuring universe. The funny thing is about each of the selections that I made today all started in 2013. Go figure, like the first,
Damn.
the first iteration. Yeah, yeah. So I did not realize that was the thing until I started looking at the dates where each of the first of the franchises, or at least the shared universes. But Conjuring universe, everybody and their mamas know what the Conjuring is. It follows the well, it started with the first movie, The Conjuring, following the investigation or the supernatural paranormal investigations of Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Mhm.
And they were real life paranormal investigators. Um, Skeptics believe that they were maybe conning people, but I believe in the stuff and I think that they were legit. But Warner Brothers especially felt that their stories were popular enough that they were like, let's beget an entire franchise. So one of the cool things about the first movie is that there's an area of the first of all, because of the many years that the Warrens spent doing what they did, there's always this idea of like there are more stories to tell. But then also there is a part of their house where it's like, I call it the Ghostbusters containment. So,
Mhm.
where they would take all of these cursed and haunted items. And when you go into this, when you see this room, you automatically think we can, there's a movie there, there's a movie there, there's a movie there. And the producers felt the same. So I know James Wan directed, and I think he co-wrote or at least wrote the first one, but he's like kind of the brain, this is his brainchild. And from the first movie, we got The Nun, which I think ran for 2 movies. Annabelle ran for 3 movies. We have The Curse of La Llorona, if I'm sorry for mispronouncing it. But then also The Conjuring has run for, At this point, I think it's 4 movies, isn't it? Is it 3 or 4?
No,
just The Conjuring
it's.
itself.
Yeah, just The
I
Conjuring
think
itself.
it's
Yeah, I
4
think
because like the last one came out
A couple.
last year or the year before that.
Okay,
something like that kind of. I remember I watched it. I think it was like on Max when they had the last one out.
I think
gotcha.
it was
So yeah,
Last Rites.
Last Rites, and
Yeah,
that
that's what it
yeah.
was.
And that was the one that was like in Pittsburgh or Boston or something.
Oh.
But yeah, so it's not represented on here. They, this, and shout out to whoever put this together because I didn't. Who put together like the timeline of
I did that shit.
yeah, the timeline of the different the different movies, and you see them in order, but they're all connected in some way to the Warrens and their cases. And the other cool thing about it, as we've talked about in these previous in the previous elections, is that there are elements of each movie which ties into another, right? So definitely worth checking out if you're a horror fan. Some movies definitely are better than the others, but I think that if you would like to get this like interconnected horror universe, which doesn't reboot or redo anything, definitely it's worth checking out. The other thing that I was going to say is that there's a TV show that's coming to HBO Max, which is there's actually a prequel series there's a prequel series or prequel movie which is going to focus on the Warrens when they were younger, and then there's a spin-off TV series that's coming to HBO Max. So they are continuing to grow the franchise, and I think the franchise is like grossed over like $1 billion with all of the movies combined. And one of the co-producers or like the co-heads of DC Studios, his name is Peter Safran. This was his series. This was a series that he was like the mega producer of. So the hope is that maybe he can come over to DC Studios and help them kind of build their connecting universe. So as a horror fan, I'm excited for that. At least them bringing that over to DC Studios. But yeah, all really good movies, or at least fun movies to watch, scary, and I like seeing a horror franchise in some ways outpacing some of the superhero franchises or the connected universes.
Yeah, this is one that's always been fun. Little nods, everything. One of my favorite ones, I think, is at the end of The Nun. They go back to, I think it might be the first or the second Conjuring, about the patient that Lorraine Warren was helping.
Yeah.
And it's the same guy. Like stuff like that, like little nods like that, they'll go back and you'll go, oh, wow. I love that. I love the fact that you can do little things like that and it doesn't have to be an after credit scene. We got to start killing those off. I mean, they kind of have, but I think we need to just start killing those off. It's as bad as everybody on social media doing the Netflix documentary, sitting down. Just stop it.
Yeah.
Stop that shit. Stop it. Stop.
I mean,
y'all ran that one into the ground way too quickly.
It was
y'all
like fast.
Jesus Christ.
Really?
God damn. Y'all know how to just tear the hell out of something. Good God. What's your next choice, Java?
Okay, my last choice is gonna be the Avatar universe because duh. So, and especially I'm still reliving the hype of the movie that just came out, which is still amazing.
Everybody's sexy.
Pretty much.
Everybody's sexy.
How can you tell? It's in the bone structure.
Man.
So, like, as you guys know, like with Avatar: The Last Airbender, it started back in like 2005. So we're in this for almost like a good like 20 years. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Damn.
Yeah.
It started off with Aang, or I would just to troll Ong.
I was about to say. I was waiting for that.
Obviously, being the last Airbender because he is a Airbender, and obviously his whole tribe died off because of war. Obviously, violence and power. But I think it was like 3 years in like the story realm that like he ends up like saving the whole earth and brings peace back in. And then he dies, and then he gets reincarnated to Korra, which is obviously one of the most controversial people that was being created because everybody had a conniption fit because one, it was a female and she was of melanin color, but titties, it is what it is. Oh, and also she's gay, so there's also that too.
Deal with it.
And hers is more on a mature side because now with everything with being peace, it was more like, okay, we have benders versus non-benders. We had to deal with, like, balancing the spirit realm and, like, her own personal values. So all that ties together. It's still, this is like one like the best franchises because not only that, we got extra comics from other avatars like Avatar Kyoshi, which is mentioned in the series. You also got Avatar Yang Chen, which I still want to read because I heard that one was good because those are both based off of comic novels. And then we even have the in-betweens between Avatar Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra, like what happens, like the infamous question, what happened to Zuko's mom? We find out in the comics, so you better go read it if you want to know what happens. And then we also have the live action series. There is a movie that's live action, but we don't count that. That's just like, non-existent. If you know, you know. But then we also have a lovely animated series that came out from Paramount, even though it got leaked on Twitter. But it's still a good watch. I enjoyed the series. I mean, I've cosplayed as Korra during like the second season, which was really good. And I enjoy it. And if you want to have like a good feel time, I will say this: if you do watch the Netflix series, remember the show was about war, so things get rough. People die. Okay, they make it a little more dark compared to the children's version that we watch as a cartoon.
This is next to Star Trek. This is like my second favorite franchise of all time. It's up there with X-Men. I just love it. And Korra, between both shows, Korra is my favorite. I don't know if it's like the steampunk setting of Republic City or her kind of coming into her own as and I think that's a good thing that how they separated. One of the ways that they separated this from Avatar is that she's a teen and Aang is a younger kid, right? So you see her kind of go through it, and it's just there if you want diversity, inclusion on a variety of fronts, really cool fight scenes, and just an awesome epic story. This is, I don't know, for some reason, this is kind of like captured my heart more so than a lot of other franchises. But yeah, definitely check out. I read the novels. Kyoshi is that woman. I need to finish it up. But yeah, and that's the other thing that I like is that every avatar has their different way of handling stuff. No one avatar is the same because Kyoshi will just cut necks, and when you see her background or read about it, it's different than Korra or Aang or anybody else. But yeah. This is a really good choice.
Yeah, this is one of those franchises that, like, there are certain franchises that are stick around. This is one that's been around for like you said, for like 20 years. Like and for it to be animated too, I think is a beautiful thing because it gives it longevity. Because you can do so many different stories, you don't have to worry about casting. You can always do different stories and what have you, and the animation is always beautiful. There's always this. I believe the movie was done by Studio Mir, which is a favorite of mine. Like when I started paying attention to animation studios, that was the one I was like, this is the one, because that was the one that did Devil May Cry.
Yeah.
They also did Dota Dragon's Blood on Netflix as well.
Okay.
So they already had like, my heart with those series. I think there's a couple other series that they've done as well. So yeah, putting it in their hands and doing this more like older version of these characters is beautiful. I love seeing this. I love seeing different iterations throughout the years and not necessarily going in chronological order, but going to different years all year round and saying, I feel like this is a story that we need to tell. Depending on what's happening in our real world now, we can have different stories we can tell about different avatars. So I love that. So Avatar is just one of those series that we'll hopefully be getting for the next few years and longer.
We are getting the new one, which is Avatar 7 Havens. And it was funny because me and my friends, because we're both big Avatar fans, we were talking about this before as just a thought and fan. They were like, what if they have twins? And we're like, what if we have one bad Avatar and one good Avatar, because of like how Korra had the evil Avatar spirit versus the good one. And as soon as they popped up, we're gonna have siblings. I'm like, son of a bitch. I'm like, Nickelodeon, run my money, okay? At least 2% check.
Yeah, there's so many different stories you can tell with that. That's what makes it so great. And when you have a character's an entity that's reincarnated continuously, or a title that's reincarnated, like you can do just about anything with it, which is what's cool for it. My last choice is What We Do in the Shadows. Now, this is based off of a series on Netflix that was based off of a movie from 2014. I want to say from Jermaine. I'm trying to remember the character's name. Jermaine Clement, I think is his name. And I want to say Taika Waititi was part of it as well. I think this is how a lot of people got to know about Taika. And so basically, this is a story of these 4 vampires that share a house. We have Laz, we have Nadja, we have I'm sorry, the character is already making me laugh. Just because of what I have to say. Colin Robinson, and then we have Nandor. So we have 3 traditional vampires, which are, blood-sucking vampires turned into a bat. And then we have Colin Robinson. Now, exactly. That was my first thought when I saw the character too, because he was hilarious. So how does this cross over into say? Well, there are actually 2 ways this cross over into wildly popular ways and wildly divergent ways. One of them is in the first season, I want to say it's at the end of the season, there's a conclave of vampires and they're having this meeting. Robert already knows where I'm going.
Yeah.
But this is a meeting that is ridiculous because it has the vampires, it has Wesley Snipes, Blade. Yeah. But I think he's on like a TV screen or something like that.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't actually be there. They have the vampire from Twilight.
Yeah.
I think they have the vampire from Interview with the Vampire. I think it's in that too. So in my head, canon, they're all in the same universe.
You're right.
The thing that I love about it also is when people always say, "Oh, well, vampires don't glitter when they're in the sun," or vampires. You have to think of vampires like you think of people. There are different races of vampires depending on where they're from, the culture and everything. Different ways of killing a vampire, different ways of figuring out how a vampire is. They're different things. So that's why whenever someone says, "Oh, they glitter," I'm like, okay, it's not my favorite iteration of vampire, but that's how their species evolved. I always love that about vampires because I'm more of a vampire fan. So that's awesome. So that's one way that they cross over. The other way is the one that's even more crazy. I was watching, I was doom scrolling, unfortunately, one day, and someone said, there's a link between What We Do with the Vampires and Seven. So you got my attention. I'm like sitting there, and he's like, okay, so the character of John Doe, in Seven, when Morgan Freeman's character, I can't remember the detective's name, they're in John Doe's lair and they're reading one of his journals, and he talks about he was on the train and he had to vomit, something was wrong with it, what have you. Then you watch an episode of What We Do in the Shadows. The character of Colin Robinson, like I said, the other 3 were traditional vampires. Colin Robinson is a psychic vampire. What's more commonly known as an energy vampire. We've all come across someone like this, where they talk and it drains your energy sleeping. He knows this. That makes him stronger. And that's the only type of vampire that can feed off of regular vampires, which is also very interesting. So he lives in the house and he's like the annoying one that they don't really want to talk to because they know that he can drain them. And he does it at one like their like house meetings that they don't invite him to. And he starts talking. He's like, "Oh, so you guys are," and he drains them. And when he does, he doesn't have fangs or anything, so he just goes like that, and his eyes glow like almost like a silverish color. It's hilarious when you see him do that compared to them where they have blood, fangs and everything like that. And he works in an office building in cubicles, and he goes over. He's like, "Wow, that form, that that T190 form is a trip. What you've got to do with that is," and everyone who's worked in an office, I want to say, has met someone like this. And they drain you. That's how he works there. And he's like, this, I could feed here for years and years and years. because no one ever leaves the job, and he goes over their cubicles. I don't know if he even gets his work done, but he drains everyone's energy. So to say that, they go into Colin's lair, his secret lair. He has a secret lair, and he has journals in there. And he reads from one of his journals, and he talks about meeting a man on a train. And he talks to him, and he drains him, and he starts to vomit. It's pretty much word for word the same thing. So Colin Robinson is the cause of John Doe, who is a serial killer in Seven. Again, in my head, that's canon. I absolutely love that fan theory. To me, like I said, canon. Because if you can bring in those vampires randomly, you can bring this in. And I love the idea of it. I think it might have been, I think the post actually said it was someone on Reddit who did it, I want to say. But I think it's one of the most interesting. Actually, let me look. Yeah, it was 4 years ago. Somebody said. I noticed something interesting when watching the season 4. Oh, season 4. Wow. Season 4 finale of What We Do in the Shadows. Where they talk about Colin Robinson reading, and he's on the subway today. I went up to a man to start a conversation. I made small talk with him about the weather and other things. He tried to be pleasant and accommodating, but I could not. And it goes on what have you. And then they go, well, this is a reference to a scene in movie 7 where Morgan Freeman's character is reading an entry from one of the killer John Doe's journals. And the journal entry references a man that John Doe made small talk with on the train, and who was brutally caused him to vomit all over him.
That's amazing.
I absolutely love that theory. And again, to me, that's canon. If you can take that, but that's the beauty of it. So something I say this. What We Do in the Shadows is one of the funniest things out there. Go watch it on FX. I believe it's 6 seasons. I have to catch up. I stopped watching after 3, not because it wasn't good, just because life, obviously. But I was rewatching it today, and I was laughing out loud. Like, God, this is so good. And one of my favorite people on there, Matt Berry, who is one of the funniest people out there. If you ever have an opportunity, just look up Matt Berry's stuff. Hilariously awesome, funny, very dark comedy in I forgot the name of the show. It's a show about 2 hangmen, literally modern day hangmen, being at work and just having conversation, and they're like having small talk, and they're like, yeah, well, it's okay. Pulls a lever, hangs a person, goes, well, I think that we should go. And when they go to bars, very dark humor. It was one of the first things I watched on Netflix, and I remember just crying laughing because of how dark and funny it was. It's weird, and it's just awesome. So yes, go check that out. But yes, that is my last choice. So look, shared universes have been going on for quite a while. MCU was just the one that really made it out there. But you've had them for quite a while. One of them was actually caused by cocaine, Stephen King. But we're not going to go into that. Let's be honest, that man was on that stuff or something. I don't know. He was awesome. Because why would you do that to them kids? But yes, I want to say Stephen King was one that we started finding out about. But you have MCU, you have DC, you have things that are other than comic books as well. So there's a lot of shared universes out there in movies, animation, comics, what have you. What's something that is one of your favorite shared animation? What's something that you may not think a lot of people know that is a shared universe, like RoboCop and Terminator? It's a shared universe. Yeah. They've had I think a couple of different comic books together, and I think they might have a video game, I think, too.
Yeah.
I think.
Not surprised.
Yeah. So awesome. So that's one of our choices. So check that out. We will be back. Will we be back next week? We have to talk about that, correct? Well, we can talk about it after the show. Yeah. But actually, this Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be doing a Hungry Bleak show. I'll be talking to someone we had on this summer, Malcolm McFadden. We're going to be talking about 615 comics. We're going to be talking about comics in general, probably some wrestling too. On that. So on that note, folks, gonna get ready for bed here, folks. Gotta get ready. This is what you get for putting that fork. Gotta get the bonnet ready. Gotta tuck the ears in too. So folks, I do this to get a job every time. It's just funny to me. It is. So folks, look, have a very good evening. Enjoy the rest of it. Please be safe. Drink water. take your vitamins. Take your meds, whether it's for a physical, emotional, or a mental ailment. We just want you the best be that you can be. And for the show, I am Antonio Pomares, aka the Hungry Bleak, the hungriest man in the room.
This is Jabba Chan who finished her noodles.
Oh, you did? Congratulations.
Yeah.
And this is Robbie J. Yeah. Lit.
Yeah. I don't know if I could do that in a bonnet. I don't know if I could do yeah in a bonnet. If I try to do the bonnet will catch on fire. It's crazy.
Lord.
I'll be running right here like Ghost Rider, but not the Robbie Reyes, obviously, because why would we put characters of color in movies from MCU? So on that note, folks, I could not care less. On that note, folks, you have a very good evening. Be safe. We will see you later. This Friday, actually. 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come by and we will be having a fun conversation about stuff. And we'll see you later. All right. Yeah, that's about it. All right, peace, y'all. 2 buttons. I hate those. All the updates they do, and they can't make this one button.